Good afternoon. We're convening the Senate Committee on Transportation on our 3 p.m. agenda here on State Capitol Conference Room 224, as well as online. I'll note this meeting is being broadcast online. In the event that we do lose the feed because of spotty internet connection or anything like that, we will reconvene the meeting on our Thursday agenda. So we'll defer all the bills at that point to Thursday, just in case. That said, we do have everybody's testimony in writing. For the folks who are looking to testify, make sure that you've submitted it. We do have a number of folks online, so we will be limiting testimony to 2 minutes per testifier to make sure that everybody has time to participate, after which we can open up for question and answer. That said, for everyone watching, we do have 2 agendas today. We have a carryover agenda to vote on from last week. We have 3 bills on that at 3 o'clock, and then we also have our full agenda, which has got, I don't know, a dozen bills or so on it. So what we're going to do is we'll open up right now on our 3 p.m. We're going to defer decision-making until the end of our 3:05 p.m. agenda. That way we can vote on all the bills at the same time, and we don't miss anything. So that said, let me recess out of the 3 o'clock agenda, and we'll open up in just a minute here on our 3:05 p.m. agenda. So we'll go into recess. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon. We're reconvening our Committee on Transportation, this time on our 3:05 p.m. agenda. Thank everybody for your patience. I'll note, as I did before, that we have 2 agendas today that we'll be voting on, one carryover from last week, as well as this one. So we'll be voting at the end of the agenda for both of those. We'll note also that in case the internet cuts out, we'll be deferring the rest of our agenda today till Thursday. So in the event that that happens, we'll add that to our Thursday agenda. Also, for folks who have not yet submitted your written testimony, please do so. Make sure that's submitted online so we can include it in the public record. And for those folks who are signed up to speak and testify in person, we will be limiting that to 2 minutes per person to make sure we have time to get through everybody, seeing as we have a number of bills on the agenda today. So that said, why don't we get started? Up first this afternoon is Senate Bill 574 relating to bike lanes, which requires the Department of Transportation to create a development plan to widen shoulders on state highways. And testifying first is the Department of Transportation. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair Lee and members of the committee. Jay Butay for DOT. We stand on our submitted written testimony, offering comments.
Thank you. Up next, the Hawaii Bicycling League. Do we have them with us? Looks like...
They are not present in the meeting, Senator.
Okay. In support? Oh, there we go. Mr. Taniguchi.
Hey, sorry for that. Chad Taniguchi, Hawaii Bicycling League. It's a good bill and we support it. Some of the language though, I think this bill is trying to get at some places where there are no shoulders at all or very narrow. So I don't think bike lanes are probably going to work over there because there's not enough room. But if the idea is to just get the shoulders to a decent width, then we'd like to recommend 4 feet as the default, and of course there are going to be exceptions because of impossibilities some places. So we'd like to suggest that the word bike lanes be removed and then 4 feet be listed as the width for shoulders. And I suggested some language in there for the amendment. If there's any questions, please let me know.
Thank you. Up next, John Rogers in support and David Smith in support. That's all the testimony we have. Are there any questions? Any of the members? If not, all right, thank you, everyone. Let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 287 relating to Vision Zero, which requires the Department of Transportation to implement a Vision Zero program and establishes a goal of no traffic fatalities by 2030. And testifying first is Honolulu Police Department.
Yes, good afternoon, Chair. This is Acting Captain James Slater of the Honolulu Police Department. We'd like to stand on our written testimony in support of this bill.
Thank you. Up next, Hawaii Public Health Institute. In support, Hawaii Bicycling League. In support, is that Mr. Taniguchi?
Support at least having a date of 2022 to implement. We'll get the DOT to talk about how to reach Vision Zero by 2030, and if in the process of doing that hard work, they find that 2030 might be optimistic, then they could recommend some changes. But this bill is great because it gets the ball rolling in specific. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We also have supportive testimony from John Rogers and David Smith. And I apologize if I missed anyone, but that's all the testimony we have. Are there any questions on this measure? If not, all right, thank you, everybody. Let's move on to, I'm sorry?
Jay Butai, I apologize for our, we submitted a testimony, but I don't think it got to you on time. But we stand on our testimony in support.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I'll note, we did get a bunch late, so we were trying to incorporate as quickly as possible, so our apologies if we missed anybody, and thank you for clarifying. Okay, so with that, any questions on this measure, on 287? If not, thank you. Let's move on to the next measure, SB 1401, relating to transportation, which directs the Department of Transportation to fashion a complete streets policy and reporting requirements. And testifying first is the Department of Transportation.
Chair, we stand on our testimony in support and offering comments.
Thank you. Up next, DLNR, the State Climate Commission. In support, do we have them with us? Yeah, they're on the screen a second ago. Okay, let's put a pin in that. Department of Health. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Senator Lee. This is Lola Irvin, responding on behalf of Director Libby Char for the Department of Health. And the Department of Health wants to change our position to support, understanding that Department of Transportation is supporting this with comments, and so we align ourselves. If you see our written testimony, it says comments, but we are actually supporting it. So if I may, on record, change Department of Health's position to support, and also then deferring to the comments of the Department of Transportation on some of the concerns they have. From the public health perspective, we really appreciate this bill, and that recognizing that establishing a network of safe bicycle and pedestrian highways, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong bill, that actually augmenting the complete streets policy would be really supportive of incorporating physical activity in the daily movements, would actually support what we have in terms of strategies that are recommended by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And so healthy, active people, healthy nation by the CDC actually recognizes complete streets as a policy, a key approach to developing built environments that support physical activity. And so this is a great move in that it would actually work on really reintegrating physical activity into the daily movements. So thank you so much for the opportunity to provide testimony.
Thank you. Up next, we have EVA Neighborhood Board, number 23, in support. Blue Zones Project, in support. Hawaii Youth Climate Coalition, in support. Ulupono Initiative, Looks like good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair Lee, Vice Chair Noya, members of the committee. Mike Munikata on behalf of the Ulupono Initiative. In strong support of this measure, Chair, and appreciate you taking the time to hear it. It's just a good time to take an evaluation of this complete streets policy. We can hopefully get a little bit more information, a little bit of transparency to see how we're doing on this particular program. And I think this measure sets us in the right direction to really get a good feel for that. And I appreciate the time, Chair, and available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, Young Progressives Demanding Action, in support. American Heart Association, in support. AARP Hawaii. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Senator Lee. This is Audrey Suga Nakagawa. I'm the Advocacy Director for AARP Hawaii, and we're in very strong support of this measure. AARP has been a longtime proponent of complete streets policy. We have been working very closely with the City and County of Honolulu in their age-friendly city initiative, and we really look forward to seeing the statewide effort in making all of the state a livable and age-friendly community. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, Hawaii Bicycling League, in support. Hawaii Public Health Institute, in support. And I'm not sure if, let's see. I have HBL on here twice. I believe I know why as well. So my apologies. If Mr. Taniguchi is still available and would like to comment, please let us know. Or DLR for that matter. I believe they were signed up on Zoom as well. But otherwise, we have also a supportive testimony from Paul Bernstein and David Smith. And that would be all the testimony that we have on this measure. If we didn't miss anyone, are there any questions?
Can't do my video.
Oh, it sounds like Mr. Taniguchi is with us after all.
Yeah, I'm unable to, oh, there we go. This is a great bill, and it's gonna move forward complete streets by developing a checklist. Usually that makes it sure that the engineers and planners think fully about whether somebody needs to walk or bike or even drive or take transit in a better way on the street. So the checklist is a great thing, and 8% may sound big, but if we're really going to have meaningful change, that's the kind of investment that we need, and I'm pretty sure DOT will find a way to reach that target. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, if there's no one else we missed, are there any questions from the members?
I have a question, Chair, for the department. This sounds really familiar to me. So who's here from DOT? I see Jade.
We have also staff from highways.
Okay, because I remember, I thought this was already in statute that they were supposed to do this.
Chair, thank you for your question. Let me, if you don't mind, let me ask, Ed, are you on the call? On the Zoom?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, hi, Ed. The question was, I thought this was already in statute that they were supposed to implement the complete streets idea.
Yes, it is in statute, and we do implement complete streets on all of our projects.
So this is redundant.
This provides more requirements. So there is now a minimum of 8% that's required to put into bike and ped or multimodal projects. It also requires a checklist to be developed formally to be shown in the light. So it just builds upon what's already in statute, upon stuff that we're already doing.
Okay, good. I'm sorry, the way the short title reads, it was like, did it get abolished somewhere in the mid, coming back? All right, thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? If not, just Ed, while you're there, thanks for weighing in. I'll notice in DOT's testimony, the provision you referenced, the current 2% federal spend for pedestrian bike facilities, that sort of thing. This bill raises to 8%. You noted that there are obviously other considerations when it comes to federal money and maintaining that kind of support from the federal government. You guys had recommended a different percentage. If we did replace the existing 8% with something slightly different, would that be satisfactory for you guys?
Absolutely. For us, we're averaging about 6% if we look at about a 3-year horizon on the spends. So I'm very comfortable with a 5% goal or requirement. The 8% from my perspective becomes a little problematic because our first priority or requirement for federal highways is to make sure that our system is maintained in a well-maintained state. There are targets that we need to hit every year for conditions of roads and bridges. And just for me, tying up funding in different areas that doesn't make it flexible enough for me to meet those goals, just give me a little pause. Especially because if we don't meet those goals, there could be a 30% hit on the federal funds that come through annually until we fix that percentage. So giving that 5% requirement over a 3-year period, I'm very comfortable that we'll hit it because we're already doing it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, any further questions on 1401? If not, thank you, everyone. Let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 1402 relating to transportation, which modernizes Hawaii's ground transportation infrastructure by providing additional metrics, considerations, and assistance to DOT in creating motor, bicycle, and pedestrian facilities, and establishes a ground transportation commission. And testifying first is the Department of Transportation.
Chair, we stand on our testimony in support and offering comments.
Thank you very much. Up next, DLNR. Good afternoon.
Hi, Chair. I believe they're having technical difficulties on their side.
Okay. But Alan, I see you on the screen there. Are you here on behalf of DLNR, the Climate Commission, or different agencies?
No, not the Climate Commission. So I'm here for the latter 3 bills of transportation. So,
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be Anuhiro
Yeah.
or the Climate Commission.
All right, we'll see if they can patch on through. All right, in the meantime, DLNR in support. Hawaii State Energy Office.
Aloha Chair, members of the committee, this is Scott Cohen, Chief Energy Officer, and we submitted testimony with comments noting the Department of Transportation's support. We'd also like to go on the record as supporting as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Up next, Department of Health.
Good afternoon, Senator Lee. I'm Lola Irvin representing the Department of Health on behalf of Dr. Libby Char, and the Department of Health had originally submitted a written testimony offering comments, and we would like to be on the record changing our position to supports to align with Department of Transportation. And so we're supporting SB 1402 and also deferring to the Department of Transportation on the comments and concerns they have. And then we want to express also our appreciation, knowing that what we are doing right now is developing a state physical activity and nutrition plan for the state, and SB 1402 aligns very well with the recommendations and objectives received from several hundred stakeholders that gave input. We recognize that in terms of the Department of Transportation and other agencies and community stakeholders supporting SB 1402, it really takes a collective and also the legislative support so that we can have the infrastructure that actually improves our ability to integrate physical activity into the day, and then therefore would also be part of improving our health outcomes. So thank you so much for the opportunity to provide testimony.
Thank you. Up next, Ewa Neighborhood Board number 23 in support. Hawaii Youth Climate Coalition in support. Ulupono Initiative. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. Ulupono Initiative stands on its testimony in strong support. Just basically a couple of quick comments. We just wanted to confirm a bill like this would confirm that our ground transportation network should be about moving people and not vehicles. as we look to reduce our vehicle miles traveled across the state, and we start to look at multimodal options in getting people from place to place here within the state. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Up next, Hawaii Auto Dealers Association in support. Hawaii Bicycling League in support. Young Progressives Demanding Action in support. AARP Hawaii.
Good afternoon, Chair. We stand on our testimony in support of this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I apologize, Chad, I see you there. Did you want to testify on behalf of Hawaii Bicycling League?
Yes, Chad Taniguchi, Hawaii Bicycling League. This is a visionary bill that would transform our ground transportation system. And I think it looks to places like Netherlands and Denmark that have already done this to create separated distance places so people can walk, transit, bike, and drive safely. This builds on our energy goals already adopted. And I really want to compliment Jade Butai and Ed Sniffen, because under their leadership, and Ed's in particular under highways, he's really shown his understanding of the goals in this bill. And I think he's uniquely qualified to organize and lead the commission to develop plans and targets to implement this bill. I've seen Ed do that on the red light camera bill, where he got all the stakeholders involved and really had them work to develop legislation that worked. So I really think DOT is going to do great with this bill, and thank you.
Thank you. Up next, American Heart Association in support. Hawaii Public Health Institute in support. And we just heard from the Hawaii Bicycling League in support. And also testimony from Paul Bernstein in support. I believe that's all the testifiers we have. But just circling back to DLNR, were they able to patch through if they wanted to testify on Zoom?
I don't believe so, Senator.
Okay, thank you. In that case, are there any questions from the members? I have just one for DOT.
I'm here, Chair.
Thanks. You had noted, based on the way that some other states and municipalities construct their transportation planning government infrastructure, I guess, you typically have funding that's appropriated and either legislatively decided, or you have a commission of stakeholders that go through that funding and decide for themselves what projects are going to be prioritized and what not. So your testimony, you're suggesting that we're probably better off having one, but not both of those. Is that right?
Yeah, and sorry, Chair. Yes. So from my perspective, when I started looking at the bill, I appreciate everything that's in there, and we'll absolutely support it. I think making sure that we have that planned and coordinated approach with the counties is really good. Putting a plan together that's online for everybody to see, and the goals that we were looking to achieve are measured throughout every year. That's perfect. All of that is really good. From my perspective, when I started looking at the commission that is being considered for this bill, we had a transportation commission in the past that was disbanded because it was not bringing any benefit to the Department of Transportation or to the state. In reality, that commission was looking to try and help prioritize funding and initiatives, but then in the end, overall, the legislature has that authority. So if there was a difference of opinion between the commission and the legislature who appropriates the funding to us governs, because everything that we have is line itemed in our budget. In other states where there is a commission separated from the legislature, in general, that legislature appropriates funds in blocks. So all special funds and all federal funds are appropriated in one bunch to the DOT to be prioritized and approved by their commission. To me, when I see two governing bodies that may not agree in certain cases, it just seems inefficient. So I would rather that we continue to work with the counties and work with our partners in bike and pedestrian advocacy to ensure that we push everything to that goal that we're looking for, that we're going to be putting online, that we're going to be ensuring that everybody understands how we measure and implement through, and then come to the legislature for the approval through our budget.
Sure. Thanks. So, and obviously, we have some budgetary issues that we're dealing with this year in general, but commission aside and whatever resources that might take, the rest of the bill, just establishing sort of long-term goals for DOT is something that you guys would support?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Any further questions? If not, thank you. Let's move on to the next measure. Up next is Senate Bill 428 relating to felonies, which specifies that interference with an automated public transit operation is unlawful and a Class C felony. And testifying first is the Attorney General.
Not present, Senator.
Oh, thank you. Looks like with comments. Up next, Office of the Public Defender.
Yes, Chair, this is William Benson from the Public Defender's Office. We'll stand on our testimony. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Department of Transportation.
Chair, we stand on our testimony in support of the intent.
Thank you. And City and County Department of Transportation Services.
Aloha, Chair. Drake Kalulu from the Department of Transportation Services. Thank you for hearing the bill. This was introduced by our request. We're simply seeking to extend the existing statute that classifies assaults against public transit operators as a Class C felony to interference with driverless transit options to have the same penalty when interference is, when the systems are interfered with. And we're available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the testimony we have for 428. Are there any questions from the members? And if not, I have just, let me see if I do have one. Okay. There are no questions. I'm good to go, so let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 766, relating to motor carrier penalties, which allows a penalty of up to $5,000 for the fourth or subsequent violation of a motor carrier law within 1 calendar year. And testifying first on SB 766 is the Public Utilities Commission. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. We stand on our written testimony in support, available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is DLNR.
Good afternoon, Chair Lee, members. DLNR stands on its written testimony in support. Oh, apologies, Alan Carpenter, Assistant Administrator for State Parks. We stand on our written testimony providing comments. And if I may just briefly go back to when you previously asked for DLNR to testify, it was Anuhitl as part of the climate condition, which is technically not part of DLNR. It's just housed in our office and goes through the chair, but it's not part of the department. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. Apologize for the mix-up there. Up next, DLNR Parks, I believe. Oh, wait. I'm sorry.
That's me,
Yep.
Chair, sorry.
I had you guys, sorry. I have Kurt Cottrell down also. Our mistake. Okay. Thank you very much. Hawai'i Transportation Association in support. We also have looks like supportive comments from (27) individuals in support and 1 with comments. But that's all the, I believe, testifiers signed up to speak on this measure this afternoon. So that said, are there any questions? And if not, thank you. Let's move on to the next measure. Up next is Senate Bill 227 relating to motor vehicle sunscreening devices, which repeals the provisions requiring light transmittance of no less than 35% on side and rear windows in certain vehicles when using sunscreen devices. And testifying first on 227 is the Department of Transportation. Good afternoon.
Chair, we stand on our submitted written testimony in opposition.
Thank you. Up next, Honolulu Police Department.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me? There we go. This is Acting Captain James Slater with the Honolulu Police Department's Traffic Division. We stand in our written testimony in opposition of this bill.
Thank you. Up next, TNT tinting specialists in support. And it's all the testimony I believe we have on this measure. Are there any questions? I guess I just have one following up with HPD.
Yes, Chair.
Good afternoon. Thank you. One of the issues raised, I think, by the bill here was the difference between tint requirements on an SUV, where you could have darker tint in the back windows, versus a regular car where that's prohibited. And I was just curious, how did that ever come about, and what's the purpose for that?
I think a long time ago they used the back tint for the SUVs and the trucks. They were initially lumping that in with vans, because a lot of the different vans for delivery services, they actually had no windows in the back, so they kind of felt like there was a similarity between it. If there was a way to ever repeal that and actually go to everybody with 35 or greater transparency for light, we would be in support of that. So it's obviously an issue when people black out their front windows. This is where the driver is going to be able to see pedestrians that are going to cross, see bicyclists in the next lane. We've even had issues where some of the drivers, their front windshield was actually blacked out as well. And it's a serious issue as far as limiting their amount or their ability to see out of the vehicle. Second part of it would also be that for police officers, it is an officer safety issue. When we're approaching the vehicle, it's important that we're able to see how many occupants are in the vehicle, see if there's any weapons, just to see if there's anything going on inside the vehicle that we need to be aware of. So anytime that there's too dark of tint, that does prohibit our ability to see inside the vehicle.
Thanks. And I think everybody can appreciate that. The other thing is there are a number of states, obviously, that don't have this requirement and do have the ability to go darker around certainly not your front windshield, but your side and rear in a way that Hawaii doesn't. Are you familiar with how law enforcement there handles this situation? Because obviously it's commonplace elsewhere.
Yeah, we've had traffic commanders meetings, and we've had other meetings outside of that where I've talked to, brother and sister officers out in other states, and they all say the same thing. They would wish that there were more restrictions on the tint as well over there. Only because, again, it's a safety issue not only for police officers, but it's also a safety issue for our bicyclists, pedestrians, and we're trying to get to that vision zero, and I think that's something that would kind of counteract that.
Were we to advance a bill forward, if we did, for those people who do have dark tint on their front windshields and are clearly impairing their own visibility and line of sight and all that sort of thing, raise the penalties for that sort of in trade, would that be something that you guys would be open to discussing?
We'd still be in opposition because we are pretty firm on wanting to keep it where pedestrians can see through the driver's window and that the driver can see the pedestrian. It's important that they make eye contact, they can see each other, that you can see when a pedestrian is crossing in the crosswalk. And that is part of your peripheral vision, is being able to see out the sides. If it's too dark and it's at night, you're not going to be able to see people.
But just on the sides and the back, I mean, is the concern there obviously isn't so much hitting cars that are behind you, I imagine, but rather, is it just the police visibility
for the back window?
For that?
Yeah, that's an officer safety issue, but also if you're reversing back in a parking lot, well, there's people pushing their carts by or things like that. So there's still that inability to see out the back when you're trying to reverse. I know a lot of cars nowadays have the cameras, which wouldn't be an issue for the dark tint, but not all vehicles are equipped with that.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chair.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Continue. Can I ask a question? Okay. Having said that, my comments or questions not related to the tinting portion, but it's it's not a device, but you know your back windows? I noticed, I took a picture a couple of weeks ago of this vehicle. It was a commercial vehicle, and they advertised their company, and they had this decals on the back window. And so I took a picture of it, and I sent it to Highways Division. I said, you know what, is this legal? Because the guy wouldn't be able to see the back window if, unless he, required, as long as you have those 2 mirrors on the side is sufficient. But I think DOT said that's okay, that's legal. But that was really interesting because a decal, like for me, I'd like to use all of my peripheral vision on mirrors at the back, but it's kind of interesting. And is that true? It's okay?
It is legal. That was on a van or an SUV?
It wasn't a truck. I think it was an SUV or not a van, because I take it back. It could have been a truck too, because they had the backside. So yeah, it was a commercial vehicle.
Yeah, so that is legal. And again, it's one of those that we would be very in support of if we repeal that as well.
Yeah.
Because it is dangerous. It really
And then
is.
I saw after that, I've never seen that before, but I saw it on this vehicle. And then a couple of days later, and that's here on Oahu, I saw other cars with it as well. So, but
Yeah,
maybe that's
it is
something to
becoming more and more
consider
common, you're right.
with transportation going forward, maybe look at that as well. But you're in support that it shouldn't, we shouldn't allow that, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and if we could do anything that would allow more visibility through windows and/or not just for the drivers or for the officer safety aspect, but also for the driver's aspect, just to be able to see pedestrians, other vehicles, bicyclists, motorcyclists, so anything we can do to reduce traffic collisions would be,
Okay,
I would be in support of.
thank you, Chair.
Okay. Any further questions? And also, just to verify, I think for tech support, TNT Tinting is not on the call? Are they available?
Correct, Chair.
Okay.
They're not on the call.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any further questions on this measure? If not, thank you, everyone. Let's move on to the...
Chair, sorry, Chair.
Oh, sorry, Senator Favela, go ahead.
I just wanted to be clear, so, perforated, you know how to get perforated, signs and, messages on the back part of the vehicles. That's something that HPD is against too?
Yes, Senator, that would also be something that would obstruct people's visibility. A lot of times these different vehicles are out there for delivery, whether it's a delivery vehicle or even just something for advertising. If you've ever been inside a vehicle where those vinyls are on the outside, it really prohibits your ability to see out. A lot of these vehicles, they do have those cameras inside, which will help you see out when you're trying to reverse, and you do have your mirrors. But anything that's going to obstruct your vision from inside the vehicle, that is going to be dangerous for the driver.
The only reason why I bring that up is because, I know the old type perforated,
Get rid of that in the.
informational, wasn't visible, but the ones now, it's a little bit better. So depending on the technology, I guess, on the vehicle that they're having, because I see some of them that is really clear through the rearview mirror, than a lot of
Dots, right, Senator? Those dotted ones? Is that the one you're
Yeah.
talking about? Yeah, those are a little bit better.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Okay, any further questions? If not, thank you, everyone. Let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 754, relating to operating a vehicle while intoxicated, which lowers the blood alcohol threshold for operating a vehicle while under the influence of an intoxicant. And testifying first is the National Transportation Safety Board in support, Strategic Highway Safety Plan in support, Department of Transportation.
Chair, we stand on our testimony in support.
Thank you. Up next, Office of the Public Defender.
William Benter for the Public Defender's Office, Senator. We do oppose the bill. We'll stand on our written testimony and we're available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, County of Kauai Office of the Prosecuting Attorney. In support, Honolulu Police Department.
Yes, Chair. Again, Acting Captain James Slater, Honolulu Police Department's Traffic Division. We stand in support of this bill. Written testimony submitted.
Thanks very much. Maui Police Department, in support, MAD Hawai'i. Good afternoon. Oh, you have to unmute.
Okay, thank you. I'm happy to be here, and Carol McNamee from MAD, and thank you, Chair Lee and Vice Chair Inouye and members of the committee. MAD is in very strong support of this bill, and I think that's nothing new for you, since the bill was heard last year as well. But we do want to say that in just a few days, MAD is going to celebrate its 27th anniversary. And actually, I think it's 37, sorry about that. And so all this time, we have been working toward our mission, which is to stop drunk driving, to end drunk driving. And we've made a lot of progress along the way since so many years ago. But right now, we seem to be at some kind of a plateau where we're just not making much progress at all. And it's not just Hawaii. This is found across the nation. And of course, Utah has now taken the step of reducing from 0.08 to 0.05, and they are seeing some great results. It turns out that the move from 0.10 to 0.08 a few years ago reduced alcohol-related fatalities by over 10%, saving a total of 23,686 lives in the United States. And then for a 0.05, if we went from 0.08 to 0.05, an 11% decline is expected. So we would really like to see the passage of this bill. We're sensitive to the difficult times the state and county hospitality industries are having, of course, as a result of COVID-19. But we feel that, behaviors are changing. We're used to getting food and drinks delivered to us, or just helping each other out more. Maybe we would see people who are more willing to be a designated driver, which would be our
Summarize.
reaction. So I thank you for giving us the time to express our support for this bill, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Up next, Sparks Initiatives in support, American Beverage Institute in opposition, Hawaii Alcohol Policy Alliance in support, Hawaii Public Health Institute in support, Hawaii Alcohol Policy Alliance, looks like separate testimony from them, in support, National Safety Council in support, and we have additional testimony from 5 individuals in support and 1 in opposition. That's all the testimony we have on this measure. Are there any questions? I have one quickly for the public defenders.
Yes, Senator.
Oh, there you are. Okay, thanks. Thanks for your testimony. So, understandably, I think when I was in the Judiciary Committee last year, we had similar discussions, not necessarily about lowering threshold, but about the impacts of different thresholds, and I think what it means for some of the clients that PDs has. But in here, in your testimony, you note that a reduction of alcohol impairment level to 0.05 casts too wide a net and will result in criminalizing the behavior of normally responsible drinkers, unless we change the law, but without having an impact on reducing alcohol-related fatalities. And I want to be clear about this, because are you suggesting here that if we actually do reduce this, there is no scientific basis suggesting that fatalities would go down?
No. I think what we're trying to say is that we have to understand, we have to see whether there is evidence of that or not. And, the added expense of the bill to the entire system, I think we have to weigh that as well as looking at the strength of the bill as far as safety is concerned. We do agree that anytime you lower the number, then you will catch more people and perhaps even keep some people from consuming alcohol and driving. So, we're not saying it's not going to have a safety effect. But at the same time, the resulting cost to the entire system is going to be huge. Now, I'm not trying to put a monetary number on saving lives. Please don't believe that. But at the same time, we do have to look at the ramifications of such a bill. We do think also that there would be people that might blow 0.05, but be perfectly capable of driving their vehicle in a safe manner. And the actual machine that's used has an error factor built into it as well. And so you could have some people that are below 0.05 but blow into the machine. It gives a 0.05 reading. They may be safe to drive, and then we get into a whole issue dealing with how they were driving, how perhaps they've done the field sobriety test, etc. It invites a lot more litigation because, one, the net will be bigger, more people will be arrested, more people will contest, I think, these types of charges. And as I said, it adds a tremendous cost to the entire system.
Just following up on that, most, at least according to the testimony here, most other countries in the world right now have a 0.05 threshold and use the same equipment to test, presumably. I mean, are we really so different here than other places that have done this already?
Probably not.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, any further questions? If not, thank you, everybody. Let's move on to the next measure. Senate Bill 153 relating to the statewide traffic code, which establishes penalties for violations of the ignition interlock law and requires proof of compliance to be eligible to apply for a driver's license. And testifying first on 153 is Department of Transportation.
Chair, we stand on our testimony in support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Strategic Highway Safety Plan in support. Office of the Public Defender.
Yes, we stand on our written testimony in opposition. Will be available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Prosecuting Attorney, City and County of Honolulu.
Chair Tricia Nakamura. Deputy Prosecuting Attorney will stand on our written testimony.
Slightly breaking up there, but I believe I heard you say that you're standing on your testimony.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And that's with comments. MAD, Hawai'i in support. Smart Start LLC.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Joanne Hamaji-Oto, Territory Operations Director for Smart Start LLC, Hawaii Corporate Office. We're testifying in strong support of Senate Bill 153 relating to the statewide traffic code. Smart Start is the current vendor contracted by the Hawaii Department of Transportation to install and service alcohol ignition interlocks in the state of Hawaii. Currently, the only way to stop a drunk driver from reoffending is to install an interlock on a vehicle that a person operates during license revocation. Unlike other alcohol monitoring technologies or program, an interlock is the only technology and the single most effective tool available to separate drinking from driving and to enhance public safety. Senate Bill 153 will make interlock users prove compliance and demonstrate they're able to drive sober before removing the device. For drunk drivers using the interlock, they must have a certain period of no recordable violations before removal, known as a compliant-based removal. It is law in currently 34 states. Interlock compliance-based removal laws are important, teaching sober driving behavior. In 2014, the Traffic Injury Research Foundation was invited by the Hawaii Department of Transportation to provide technical assistance to strengthen and improve the delivery of the Ignition Interlock program in Hawaii. This bill is a result of the recommendations of this report to not allow offenders to wait out their revocation period, address the problem of offenders continuing to engage in unsafe driving behaviors, and exit the program without ever having to install an interlock or prove sobriety to drive. Currently, OVUI offenders in Hawaii merely have the interlock removed when it is time for their end of program, whether they have proved sobriety to drive or not. Currently, one of the biggest challenges facing Hawaii's interlock program is eligible OVUI offenders wait out their revocation period and do not install an interlock, many choosing to drive unlicensed and not interlock. Since the Hawaii Ignition Interlock law was implemented in 2011, we have prevented more than 100,000 drunk driving attempts in Hawaii. It prevented the drunk driving deaths and the injury and the death it causes. Additionally, an indigent program is available for those that qualify to help lessen the cost associated with an interlock. We strongly urge you to pass Senate Bill 153, as it will help strengthen Hawaii's Ignition Interlock laws, which is critically important to help save lives and keep Hawaii roads safe. OVUI offenders should be made to comply with the requirements to install an interlock before their driving privileges are restored. They should not be given the choice of waiting out the revocation period without ever installing an interlock. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony to support the importance of this bill.
Thank you very much. Up next, we have Tara Casanova Powell in support. The Foundation for Advancing Alcohol Responsibility in support, and the Traffic Injury Research Foundation in support. And that's all the testimony we have on this. Are there any questions? If not, I promise I'm not picking on you, but public defenders again?
Yes, Senator.
Good afternoon, thanks. In your testimony on this one, you noted that you had concerns that there was an equity issue, generally speaking, that basically would make it harder for people who are less well off to be able to drive. Is that?
Yes, well, to get their license, once they finish their sentence for an DUI or drunk driving charge, yes. Because I believe the bill requires the installation of the interlock device before the person can try to get their license back. So if they choose not to do that and wait it out, as the last person stated, and not put in the interlock device, they can get their license, but this will prevent them from doing so. We do believe that there is an equity issue. I heard the testimony saying that there was an indigent discount or something of that nature. But we're not talking about people that can afford this type of device in the vehicle. I mean, if they wanted to make it free for those that needed it for free, that might be a different situation. But there is an equity issue there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And then going back to Smart Start, who had, I think, testified. Yeah, thank you. So on that point, for folks who, first of all, how much is it to install a system, and what is the actual cost to the user?
So the actual cost share right now is, there's a one-time fee of $84 for the installation, and there's a monthly fee of $89 every month. That includes the calibration, servicing, and the downloading of the data. So that's $89 every month. We do have an indigent program which reduces the fee to 50% off if people qualify for that program. And it comes down to 50% off the monthly fee and 50% off the install fee. So you're talking $44.50 a month, and it comes down to $1.48 a day for the interlock, for the indigents.
Thank you. And then real quick, one more time for the PDs. In most cases where you have someone required to install that is indigent or does have some sort of assistance required, financial assistance required, in actual real-world experience, I mean, is that something that judges tend to, or even have a discretion to make part of a penalty or a fine or something to include that cost? Since they're already probably going to be paying a penalty, like a financial penalty? Or how does that work?
Fines are mandatory, I believe. So there's no, the court can sometimes suspend fines depending on the situation. So you're correct in that if the person does not have the ability to pay. Some fines are mandatory. I'm not certain what district court judges are doing right now in court.
Okay, thank you. All right, any further questions on this measure? If not, thank you. We have a couple more bills to go with a considerable amount of testimony. So up next is SB 17 relating to tour aircraft, which requires tour aircraft operations permit applicants to have aircraft that are outfitted with FAA-approved safety devices and prohibits permit holders from allowing noise in certain areas. So testifying first on SB 17 is our U.S. Congressman Ed Case in support. DLNR.
Thank you again, Chair Alan Carpenter with State Parks. The department stands on our written testimony offering comments, and we're available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. The Department of Transportation.
Chair, we stand on our submitted written testimony expressing appreciation for the intent.
Thank you. Attorney General. With comments. Pearl City Neighborhood Board in support. Windward Coalition in support. Blue Hawaiian Helicopters with comments. Quiet Skies Honolulu. Looks like they're with us. I'm just going to run through the folks who are scheduled to appear before Zoom first. Bob Ernst.
Malia Nolan is here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, Malia Nolan with Quiet Skies Honolulu. So if they're there, come on up.
Aloha.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. And I want to thank Chair Lee and everyone who's here for the opportunity to speak. I am speaking on behalf of Quiet Skies Honolulu. I'm representing about 70 constituents who have written in with their support of eliminating the noise footprint from any occupied property. We have residents from all over the greater Honolulu area, Oahu, and increasingly from the entire state of Hawaii who are writing in severely impacted by the noise from tour helicopters, the loss of peace and well-being and health. So I stand by the comments that were submitted and also want to offer that I'm available for any questions should you have them, and I'm happy to hand over this compilation of about 70 constituents' testimony as well, if that is helpful. So thank you so much. Mahalo.
Thank you. Up next, Bob Ernst. Mr. Ernst, good afternoon.
Hello, Chair Lee and Vice Chair Noe and members English, Fabela, and Shimabekuro. I'm Bob Ernst. I'm a founding board member of HICOP, Hawaii Island Coalition Malamapono. The sole purpose of HICOP is to return sovereignty to Hawaii free from tour copter noise, nuisance, pollution. We appreciate this opportunity to Zoom, especially coming from a neighbor island. It's probably the only benefit that COVID provided, and we hope that maybe it will continue in the future. We also were very pleased to have receive this afternoon the testimony from Representative Ed Case. And there's one thing I want to bring up that Ed raised. Ed said this will never be a voluntary solution. And we agree with that. We met 4 years ago, when I say we, HICOP, the board, met with the 4 operators on Hawaii Island, Sunshine, Paradise, Blue Hawaiian, and Safari. And we told them the problems they were causing to us, and we asked them to voluntarily address the noise torture issue. They did not. 4 years later, it's still business as usual. I just want to mention too that the 2020 SB 2649 SD1, which is the same bill filed by Senator Chang in 2020 as filed under SB 17 in 2021, passed out of the Senate unanimously and crossed over to the House, but it was because of COVID, the session was shortened and it never went any further. We really ask you, as the people on the ground that are suffering from the torture day in, day out, to support, advocate for, and vote for this bill. I'm sure all your constituents would certainly appreciate it. And it's a benefit to the operators also, because they will then be able to operate without complaints, and they can design their tours to operate without impacting the people on the ground in Hawaii.
Thank you, Mr. Ernst. If you can summarize.
Thank you very much. Mahalo nui.
Yep, thank you. Up next, Michelle Mattson.
She's not here.
In support. And I'll note we also have an additional 16 individuals testifying in support on this measure. That's all the testimony we have. Are there any questions? And just to be clear, the Attorney General is not on. Is that right?
Correct, Senator.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if there's no questions, let's go on to the next measure, SB 1403, relating to helicopters, which requires commercial helicopter owners to retain and make available records containing basic flight information. And testifying first, again, is Congressman Ed Case in support, followed by DLNR.
Thank you again, Chair, Vice Chair. DLNR will stand on its written testimony offering comments and apologies for the incorrect title in our testimony, but it is regarding this bill.
Oh. No worries. Thank you very much. Up next, the Attorney General with comments. Department of Transportation.
Chair, we stand on our submitted written testimony, expressing the appreciation of the intent.
Thank you very much. Blue Hawaiian Helicopters with comments. I'll just note we also had DLNR DOFA. I'm not sure if there's separate testimony there, but it is noted separately on our list in case they're available, but that's in our list as well. And we also have an additional 38 individuals in support and 1 with comments. I believe that's all the testimony we have on this measure. So with that, are there any questions? If not, I just once again just want to check AG is not with us, considering they're raising a couple questions about some of the bills.
Correct, Senator.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, if there's no further questions, thank you everybody very much for your patience and time. I'll note it's just after 4, so we do have 2 agendas to DM on. So we're going to recess and we'll come back for decision making on both our 3 p.m. and our 3:05 p.m. agendas. Recess. Good afternoon. We're reconvening the Senate Transportation Committee for decision-making on our 3 o'clock and 3:05 p.m. agendas. Up first on our 3 p.m. agenda, SB 1291 relating to transportation. This is the auto cycle bill. Appreciate the supportive recommendations from the Department of Transportation on this one. So we wanted to move this bill forward, adopting those amendments, changing the definition, quote, partial full body enclosed cab, rather to read, quote, roll bar, roll cage, or full body enclosed cab. Then move this on to JDC. Any comments or questions on this one? If not, Vice Chair.
Chair's recommendation is to pass SB 1291 with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator English. Senator English.
Aye.
Okay. Senator Shimabukuro. Aye. Senator Favela.
Aye.
Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to SB 1007, relating to electric foot scooters. This is the foot scooter bill. We did want to move this forward as well, adopting the DOT recommendations to make the minimum age to operate these 15 years old. And secondly, adding language simply saying that these can move forward provided scooters shall be publicly stored or docked at specific locations authorized by each county. Any questions or comments on this? If not, Vice Chair.
Chair's recommendation is to pass SB 1007 with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator English.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Okay, measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to the next measure, SB 650. This is the tow truck bill, which adjusts charges and fees. Understand some of the concerns raised by the consumer advocate, but did want to move this forward for further discussion. So we want to blank out the fee amounts, and we'll leave that up to the Consumer Protection Committee to take a look at, since that's their wheelhouse. So we'll blank out the fees and move it forward.
Okay.
Any questions or comments?
Chair's recommendation on SB 650 is passed with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Okay, Vice Chair is with reservations. I do want to mention that I don't care about raising taxes or raising fees, and I appreciate the Chair from blanking the amounts on. I'll see what happens on the floor. Senator English.
Aye.
Okay, Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
Okay, Senator Favela.
Aye.
Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So moving on to our 3:05 p.m. DM from the measures that were heard just now this afternoon. SB 574 relating to bicycle lanes. This requires 3 feet for bicycle lanes along highways. Appreciate the discussion here, but because we have other bills that also touch on this issue, we wanted to defer this one for the moment. Second bill on the agenda, SB 287 relating to Vision Zero. This updates the Vision Zero law. We do have a couple questions on this one that we want to check with the stakeholders on. So we want to defer this to Thursday for decision-making on our 3:01 p.m. agenda.
February 11th and room 224.
And that's February 11th here in room 224 and online. SB 1401 relating to transportation. This is the update for complete streets. I want to move this forward, but adopting DOT's recommended amendments, changing the percentage federal spend on bike and pedestrian infrastructure from 8% in the bill to 5%, as well making technical amendments. Any comments, any questions on this?
Is
If
this
not,
1401?
1401, yes.
Okay, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments on SB 1401. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator English.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to the next measure, SB 1402, relating to transportation. This is the update for some metrics and considerations and direction for all the DOT projects going forward. Appreciate DOT's input on this. So we want to move this forward, but with some amendments. In particular, we want to remove the commission that the bill would have established, also noting that there's just not a whole lot of resources to be had right now throughout state government. So I want to remove that, but leave the rest of the bill intact, and just making adjustments to the preamble and to some of the reporting to account for removing the commission out of the bill. And then finally, tech amendments.
Okay. Chair's recommendation on SB 1402 is to pass with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator English.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving to SB 428 relating to felonies. This is the interference with an automated public transit rail car or other. I want to move this forward, just adopting the AG amendments, tech amendments, which would add a definition of automated operation to the bill. And secondly, adopting the public defender's recommendation to remove the word delay from the definitions in the bill.
Okay, Chair's recommendation on SB 428 is passed with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator English.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to the next measure, SB 766, relating to motor carrier penalties. This is increasing fines for, or discretion for the PUC to increase fines for repeat violators. I want to move this forward as is. Any questions or comments? If not, Vice Chair.
Chairs, just a second.
Sure.
We have been at the recommendation of SMA. We don't use the term pass as is because if there's technical, did you do the disclaimer earlier? If there's technical amendments?
I don't think we have any recommended on this one.
On this, okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
okay, all right. Chair's recommendation on SB 766 is to pass unamended. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Okay, Vice Chair goes aye. Senator English.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro. Aye. Senator Shimabukuro. Senator Favela.
Aye.
Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to SB 227 relating to motor vehicle sunscreening devices. This is the discussion about tint on windows. Note that despite opposition from, I think, HPD and DOT, we did have requests for input from some of the tinting and other stakeholders out there who obviously weren't with us today. So I did want to allow that conversation to continue, and this goes on to JDC. So I just wanted to put on a defective date and move the bill forward.
Okay, Chair's recommendation on SB 227 is to pass with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator English.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro. Aye. Senator Favela.
Aye.
A motion is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to SB 754 relating to operating a vehicle while intoxicated. This is the lowering the blood alcohol threshold from 0.08 to 0.05. I'll note that I think the evidence is strong based on the testimony that can be beneficial. So I'd like to move this on to the JDC committee for further consideration. So recommendation to move this on without amendments.
Okay. Chair's recommendation on SB 754 is to pass unamended. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator English.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro. Aye. Senator Favela. Senator Favela.
Aye.
Okay, measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. SB 153 relating to the statewide traffic code. This is the update to the ignition interlock law. Wanted to similarly move this forward, but noting that there have been concerns raised about equity, and we know there are judiciary programs that deal with that. Wanted to move this conversation onto the Judiciary Committee. So I want to insert a defective date of 2050 on this and let them continue that conversation in the next committee. Any questions? Oh, right, and we'll note that there was the equity issue raised in the committee report.
1 second,
Sure.
Chair. What
This
bill
is
was that?
SB 153.
153. Excuse me, trying to look for vote sheets.
Should be there.
Yeah,
If not, I have no.
yeah, you got a blank? Let's do a blank for now. Okay. It's 54. Okay, that was
SB 153.
153.
It's a recommendation to pass with amendments.
Chair's recommendation is to pass, that's with amendments, yeah?
Yes.
Pass SB 153 with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator English.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro. Aye. Senator Favela.
Aye.
Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And finally, for SB 17 and SB 1403, we did have input from the Attorney General's office, but didn't have an AG present to help clarify some questions we had. So we did want to defer these to our Thursday agenda, to our 3:01 p.m. agenda for further DM. February 11th, here in room 224 and online. And that rounds us out
Whoa, you
exactly
just made
at 4:30.
it.
Thank you very much, everybody. We're adjourned.